Hey traders, this is my weekend video. It's been a couple weeks since I put one out. So I'm just gonna start real quick. Like the video if you like it. There at the bottom, YouTube's there, or in please retweet it in Twitter if you get a chance, and like it. And I will have a link below if anybody wants to enter my Discord group. I try to find the best charts. I may not have the best charts, so I try to find them on social media, some of the best charts, and I post them. Your main charts that I trade, I will try to post them all here in my channel. Okay, so that's something I try to focus in on here on my charting. And so basically, the most important chart of the day, in my opinion, is SPY. So basically, we came into major resistance, and wouldn't you know, right after the buzzer comes out, uh, U.S. debt gets a downgrade. So bottom line is, I'm kind of interested to see what kind of rabbit out of their hat that they're going to pull, knowing that we have this confluence of resistance all at the same area here on SPY, and just see how they're going to possibly break that out Monday morning. So if we open green, I'll be shocked, but they can do anything. But I think this is the most important chart. You probably we should have closed a lot of your longs going into the close Friday. It was just straight up bullishness into that close. But knowing that you were coming into that resistance, you should have been closing those longs. But obviously, a lot of people are going to get caught on the sidelines if they do start setting up for some sort of bull flag scenario or worse in this market. So let's keep an eye on that going forward. Okay. So anybody use Fibonacci analysis? So we are into major resistance as of the close. So anything can happen. So like I said, the news is against us. So let's see what happens. And then one final way of looking at it here, we've got this downtrend line off of the all-time highs. We literally wicked right into that. That's a different way of looking at what we did here. I showed you that in that first chart, but obviously clear resistance. Okay, looking at the Qs real quick here. Your NASDAQ 100, these are the biggest of your NASDAQ names. Look what we did. Came right into a resistance area on the NASDAQ too. It's another reason why I think really good odds we're going to be opening red Monday morning. We'll see what happens. We got a Keltner monthly Keltner top scenario here. So we looked up right into yearly value area high here into the close. Right here, right, I think it's 378 area, something like that. That's where we closed. And that's about the same measured distance away from this Keltner candle when we topped out the last time. So that's another way of looking at a potential topping scenario using the Qs this time. So really, until we actually start clearing the 379, 380 area, it's really suspect how much further they're going to be able to push the accelerator here. Another way, if you're using volume profile, the Qs right there into the close, we did take out an untested volume point of control, right in Friday's session. A lot of times, that's what the algos are programmed to do, is to come up to that high volume area that had not been tested before and reject. So basically, we came from one tier to the bottom up to another power tier, right to the highest volume point of that tier, and a lot of times that can be a rejection point here on the Qs. So very mindful here. I'm getting a lot of things here suggesting, at least for the short term, that we're probably topping out. So the important thing to note here is the bond market. The bond market's been driving the whole sell down in this market. And despite the markets going into major resistance closing out Friday, we still got the bond market not breaking below the 50 SMA, but actually rallying above it on the daily time frame Friday. So this is getting, in my opinion, a very important conflicting signal in the market of the fuel, what's left fuel left in the tank. Now the breadth in the market was very strong. It turned very positive. It wasn't just a few names that went up Friday. They were coming in, they were capitulating on everything, bringing everything up. Like the S&P 500, S&P or the Nasdaq 100, I think it was. I think 90 of the Nasdaq 100 were a bullish positive on the session. Very high correlation. Typically that does not suggest a uh, in pattern, but we are into major resistance, and we did get a little bit of end-of-day sell-off, so be mindful of that. But my main takeaway here is the bonds. The fact that the bonds did rally. I'm keeping a very close eye on there. You see, I have an alert running, seeing that the bonds early on next week start breaking below that 50 once again. I mean, we're getting a little bit of a turn here in it, but that's no guarantee that we're going to do it. I got another chart of the bonds. Give me 1 second here. I got to find it. Yeah, I found this one on TradingView, and I really liked his analysis on this. So, bottom line is he thinks we just completed a wave 4 corrective wave in the bond market, and we're setting up for a wave 5 to the upside. And we do know Jamie Dimon initially, he said we were going to 6% initially, and then he raised it to 7%. And he's the one I really believe in the broader markets. So, I'd much rather lean that he knows more about where we're going than what most people. But we'll see what happens here going forward here. A quick look at IWM, your Russell. So we did manage to hold the 20 SMA on a very bullish tape. But we do have a massive gap below us here, and we do seem to have a little bit of a turn in our moving average. So this one is a money must hold as well. I'm going to be putting an alert on that one, making sure we don't break down below that. So what I would be looking for if we're going to have continuation to the upside, this is my number one watch, IWM, going into next week for a rotation into the most beaten up names in the market and see if they start catching a bit next week. So here's another view of the IWM and see how we're at the very lowest end the volume profile on a yearly time frame. So bottom line is this market's not should not continue to go higher without a relief rally in the Russell. So we definitely got to keep an eye on that. And there's one more correlation that I definitely want to show you guys. So basically, the difference between the mega caps versus the Russell 2000 has never been greater than in history right now. Right now, we are topping above the dot-com bubble, the discrepancy between the Russell and the mega caps. So bottom line is you got two scenarios going on here. The mega caps need to come down, and or the Russell needs to go up. Okay, so bottom line is to me this seems like a great pairs trade a month or two out. You go long the Russell, go short the Qs. I just seems to think that's a high odds scenario going forward. So something to think about. So bottom line, people, is we have the deepest contraction in the money supply in our country ever in history, with the negative prints of money supplies. We actually have more money coming out of the economy than, and that's with soaring national deficits, record soaring, and we still got more money coming out of the money supply than we have actually going back in at the current time. With that being said, the savings rates. We're going into the holiday season. We're barely holding on break even here on the savings, current household savings. Inflation has gotten so high right now that on average, you know, uh, nobody's putting any money away in the bank. They're barely hanging on to, what's currently in the bank, or if they have anything in the bank to begin with. So that doesn't bode very well for the holiday season. People worried about paying their bills. And here we are. We had the student loans, all payments kicking in again. And yeah, a lot of under the hood issues going on here. So anybody in my group, these are my core tickers, which I watch on my Discord, and this is the main feature of my service. I try to seek out the charts that are on social media and my own personal charts and my members' charts, and we try to put them all in one place instead of having to search around all over the social media for the best charts, the best setups. Because there's a lot of things we don't all see everything in the markets, and it's nice having all the different ways of looking at something all in one place. And I do my best to try to do that for my users. Quick look at NVIDIA, possibly into resistance. Right here is our major trend resistance line right here on NVIDIA. We looked below that. We broke it below. We're just looking below now, but it's also lining up with our channel high. Is that a top? We'll see. Apple's into critical resistance, tops, 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 and that's right where we're at now. Tops, tops. So we closed right into a topping area here on Apple. So that's really important. That's really going to be one to keep on watch to see if we're going to have continuation in the market, to see if Apple starts breaking out. Because this next range, if we get into it, it should be a very fast range to the upside if we start going much higher. So if this does prove to be a true breakout pattern, we're looking at 220, 230 breakout here on Apple. Here's Microsoft, my chart, projecting out to a little bit over 390. So our 390 is our next main target. We just hit new all-time highs. Basically, if we come into this upward trend line, of course, that'll probably reject, depending on how fast we go up there. So both Apple and Microsoft are looking very bullish going forward. But like I said, we're into resistance, but it's not resistance if we keep going, So keep that in mind. Google's got a little bit higher into our trend line. We haven't quite got to that yet. And also into our 50 SMA. We haven't. I think we'll probably first thing by Monday, we're probably going to be coming into that scenario here for Google. Problem with Google, we got Microsoft stealing their market share. They're over, more and more Microsoft's going after the ad revenue and all that stuff for Google. So in my opinion, this is more likely a short. This is a stronger short candidate than the other monsters of tech. Just keep that in mind going forward here. But yeah, I would be trying to short. I got an alert here. Short to 50 SMA with a tight stop. We got Amazon in a cup and handle pattern for a potential breakout. Bottom line is we start breaking out here. It comes down all the way down to 120-ish on the bottom of this wedge. It takes you all the way up to about 145. Okay, so that gives you about 30 points or so from the 150. So that's projecting you up to the 170, 180 area. If the pattern does continue to resolve to the upside here, so keep that one in watch here. That's the conservative view to the upside, and we do have Singles Day that hit today still because it's 11/11. And in China. So that might bode well for Amazon as well. So going into Monday, we got to really watch those China internet names, see if they get a responsive bid because of if they start having reports of good Singles Day sales over in China. It's typically one of the biggest shopping holidays in the world that just hit today. Meta in a triple topping scenario here. I kind of like this one better than what I do is a lot of the other charts. We got a higher low here into this topping formation. The volumes were still below average into this topping formation, so that gives me some concern. So just be mindful of that. But I'll have an alert set for this if we start breaking out. It might do what Microsoft did today. So yeah. So bottom line is Monday morning is going to be really critical. So a lot of these patterns. Microsoft kicked it off for the very first day yesterday, or Friday, and these might be continuation patterns going into Monday. So I have Netflix here, guys, on my charts here. So Netflix is into my expected target zone, so be mindful of that. So we're probably going to come into, any time now. That will give us a triple top scenario, and then we have this whole gapping area that's acted as resistance before. So let's keep that one on watch here. We're coming into a triple topping scenario. So I'm watching Boeing as a rotation candidate. So we want to see it hold above our moving average here. And, I think it's 20 SMA. I can't remember. We want it to hold above that. So you can put an alert, go long, keep an alert below yesterday's Friday's lows, and you can take a long for a potential rotation trade into some of these beaten down names, and it makes you wonder just how much further tech can go without having the rest of the market catch a bid with it. So if you use your anchored VWAPs, we have a breakout on AMD. Really high odds here. We're probably going to be going back to the 127 area with this breakout scenario we got going on with AMD. Another way of looking at it here is this downtrending trend line. We are in a breakout. Obviously, we're probably going to be coming up and testing that trend line sometime this week. So Tesla was on my alert Friday, right pre-market. I was actually looking to go long Tesla. From the breakdown of this head and shoulders pattern, we hit the 100% pre-market Friday. So, but it had rallied a whole lot before the open Friday, and so I went ahead and dismissed it because it went up so much. Well, it rallied a little bit further, and then it rejected hard right back down early morning before 10 o'clock, and so it would have completely shook me out of the trade. It tried to retest this 100% area. It didn't quite get that far, but it went far enough to clear the stops out on Tesla, and now it started to lift off a little bit. But the pattern has technically completed to the downside. So if you're bullish to market, this is one you have to really keep an eye on. This thing should start lifting off here with the rest of the tech land. So just keep that one on watch here going forward. So I'd really keep a close eye on this Tesla chart here, a break of that downward trend line. You really don't want to get ahead of the freight train. If just make sure that the trends and stuff are all going on your side in a trade like that. So to conclude my video and stuff, so you've got AMD, Google, Amazon, Meta, and Apple, all in breakout areas. Okay, all potential breakout areas. Four of those, three of those are right into resistance going into the close, and we've already had Microsoft break out to all-time new highs. So it's going to be really interesting how they come into the markets Monday. I mean, it might just be a full-on continuation to the upside. I don't know. All I know is there was an institution Friday. They bought 1.9 million shares of Apple. Look at this, $354 billion in the last 5 minutes of the day. $354 billion, people. Oh my God, unreal. And then they put a hedge on that position with a total, oh my goodness. And their hedge alone was about 51 billion hedge on that position. Huge dollars put on Apple for a bullish continuation scenario. And that was before the downgrade of U.S. debt and all that stuff. But I am thinking, this firm saw that there was enough anecdotal evidence that there was enough the megatechs already just to break out to their prior resistance that they felt that they needed to put this type of trade on before the weekend hit. And not to mention we do have that big event out of China, which could cause a massive short squeeze in those China internet names if the right type of data comes out. Because remember, Alibaba, JD, they've been left for dead, absolutely left for dead. I mean, how much good news is it going to take to actually bring these things back to life? And so just be mindful of that going into tomorrow. So that's pretty much what I'm going to say. Leave it here. I'm just going to see how we're going to open tomorrow. If I can get out first half an hour and hit my daily goals, I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah, so I'm a full-on day trader, trying to make $500 a day, and for me, and call it a day, and then just sit there and I try to educate people and and try to get a better picture of the bigger markets. So thanks a lot for watching my video, and please tell people about my videos. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.